play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just hold an obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they see me. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life. Better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain.
What up, Finn fans? Welcome to another episode of the Finn Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C, brought to you by Game Changers Media. How's everybody doing this morning? Good morning. Back at him for another day. Back at him. Glad to be alive. Beautiful sunshine day here in New York. Damien, how are you all doing this morning? Man. Thank you. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. Man, what we got going on here? I mean, if you don't like the show, by all means, don't hit the like button. But if you enjoy the show, make sure you hit that like button. So the Miami Dolphins didn't really do anything yesterday. We re-signed Dotson, which I like that move. I think Dotson played well for us last year. Miami needs to create some more cap space, obviously. I think it's that we were projected at like 10 million over right now. So obviously more cap space got to be created just to get under the cap. But if we want to make some more moves, which we need to make some more moves, I don't know when we're going to make those moves. I don't know if we're going to be in on any other big name players. I don't think that's the way that the Miami Dolphins are going about business this year. I think the Miami Dolphins have a game plan in mind that they're gonna get the best players available that they can that are not outside their budget. People are getting overpaid. People are definitely getting overpaid. Thank you, Irving. Good morning. How are you this morning? People are getting overpaid this free agency. And I know typically players typically get overpaid. You know, it's a I don't see what don't you see, Bonnie? Chris Greerth is dumb and he thinks this moves are good. Yeah, any more big names being signed? I honestly don't either. Um, you know, some of these moves could be really good. You know, the kid from Detroit, let me get his name in front of me. I'm gonna try to say it again. Miami Dolphins cornerback signing from the Detroit Lions.
According to Detroit Free Press, backup safety Ifeatu Melifonwu agreed to a 3-year deal with the Miami.
A feed to Malifaux, who listen, he has the potential to be good. He has the potential to be a poor man's Kyle Hamilton from the Baltimore Ravens, where he can switch in between the safety and the cornerback position. He just hasn't been healthy long enough to give us a real idea of what he's going to be. In the small sample sizes that he was healthy with the year before last with Detroit, he played well and showed that he could be a playmaker. But, you know, you got to be able to stay on the field. You got to be able to stay on the field. And that's been a problem with this team for a long time, is that we have these players that can't stay healthy. And it kills us at the end of the year. It absolutely kills us at the end of the year. Damien, you said we signed former Bucks linebacker KJ Britt. Now I know that everybody wants to get younger and everybody wants to make the roster younger. And I do too, trust me. I do too. In a perfect world, you know, we'd sign nothing but young free agents with huge potential. But, you know, turning your roster over from an old roster to a young roster, that has more to do with the draft. You have to draft well to be able to flip your roster. You have to draft well to be able to flip your roster into a younger roster. That's the key. And that's where we struggle. We struggle to draft well. That's why our roster's older. That's why we end up overpaying for, you know, these free agents. You know, we didn't get Jamar Chase in the draft. We got Jalen Waddle. So therefore we had to go trade for a Tyreek Hill. That's big money. You know what I mean? Jalen Phillips hasn't quite been what he was supposed to be. So we had to go get a Bradley Chubb, who was big money. Cornerback positions. You can name multiple corners that we've drafted and they didn't pan out. That's why you had to go sign Jalen Ramsey, big money. And these players are all after their first contract. So of course they're going to be, you know, 27, 28. And then by the time they're done with their contract here, they're older. So our roster's a lot older. And then when your roster and your salary cap is so high, you don't have any choice but to sign, you know, older vets on 1-2 year deals because that's what you can afford. So the only way we're going to flip this roster into a young roster is by drafting well. And I know people don't, you know, certain people don't want to sign certain free agents because, oh, he's old. Well, listen, that's what we can afford. That's what we can afford right now. Morning, Costa Nostra. How you doing? How's everybody doing this morning? Listen, I want to take a second here to let you guys know how much I appreciate you coming and talking football with me every day. Like, seriously, it means the world to me. You don't know how grateful I am, and trust and believe. No matter how, I've said it once, I'll say it twice, I'll say it a million times, because it matters to me that no matter if this show doesn't grow anymore at all, or if this show gets 20,000 subscribers, I will remember the top, the people that were here the first few days. You know what I mean? The people that rocked out with me on a consistent basis when there wasn't a bunch of people here, when it wasn't the cool thing to do. You know what I mean? When they had a bunch of other options and a bunch of other stuff that they could be spending their time doing. And I just want you to know, deep down from in the heart, you know what I mean? Like, I'll never forget who you guys are, and you guys will always have a special place for me. So I want to say thank you, and I appreciate you a million times over. But yeah, I mean, listen, I would love for this roster to get younger, but it's going to take us having a couple drafts in a row where, we hit on most of the picks. Now, this roster that we got right now, and what we've done in free agency, there's still a couple moves that we can make to fill holes, because we still got a lot of holes on this team. But there's still some effective players that we can go get that can play an integral role with this team. And yeah, they're older, but they can fit in. They can help this team win. And hopefully we can address the rest of our holes in the draft. We have, 10, 11 picks. We have 10, 11 picks in this draft. Let's be wishful thinking and say that we hit on 5 of them. That's a good start to rebuilding this roster, turning it into a younger roster. Thank you, Irving. I appreciate that. Thank you, Bonnie. Yeah, Irving. I mean, listen, anybody that's been here, these are still the first few days. You know what I mean? So whether you joined a week ago, you know what I mean, you're still here at the very beginning. So listen, I appreciate you. Those first, on a consistent basis, we have anywhere between 15 to 20 people in here watching the morning show. So, those 20 people, like, I seriously appreciate them. But Miller, good morning. Good morning. 3 steps, 3 people that we need to grab, 3 moves that the Miami Dolphins need to make. Number 1, and this is probably going to be the hardest, is bringing Calais Campbell back. Calais played fabulous for us last year. He played wonderful. His snaps were limited. He's one of the oldest players, if not the oldest positional player in football. He played great for us, though. And he's not going to be expensive. But we all know Calais is chasing that Super Bowl. And unless we do something to really impress him over the course of the draft and what's remaining of free agency, he's probably going to take his talent somewhere else. So again, we got to make Calais believe that we are going to be in a position that can compete. Five hits on 11, I'll take that, better than the actual average. Yeah, I mean, it is, but I feel like this draft is deep that, I mean, maybe you can get 3 starters immediately and 2 pretty good rotational pieces. You know what I mean? And that's the very beginning. That's the very start of flipping this roster over. I think we are getting proved now starters in that draft and that O-line and safety we got in free agency so far. Hopefully we get enough Dolphins in here for you to live stream Miami games, Big C. Listen, I was going to talk about the live streaming the games. I definitely want to do that this year. And, I don't need a million people in here to do it. last year it was kind of rough because some days it was just me and you, Costa Nostra, and I have a bad temper when it comes to Dolphins games. So not everybody can handle my way of watching Dolphins games. But yeah, I wanted to do something fun, you know what I mean? Like every touchdown I chug a beer, or you know what I mean? So, something cool we can do. I want to set up the podcast room to do something cool when we score touchdowns, give it a different feel, a different atmosphere, play the Miami Dolphins theme song, you know what I mean? So I definitely want to do something fun. I'm guessing we don't keep all 11 picks and trade some to move up or pick up a player. We don't really need 4-7 round pick. Bonnie, that I would hope that we can move up. I've said it over and over. Listen, if Membu's not there at 13, I would like to move down between the 2021 and we can still get a really good player. And then I'd like to trade back up into the first round. And I don't want to give up our second round pick this year. So anyway, we could trade back up into the first round without giving up our second rounder. I'm all about it. I'd be cool to buy a landline and make it a call-in line. Laugh out loud. But yeah, Calais Campbell. We gotta figure out a way to bring him back. You bring him back, he's not going to cost you more than $5 million. He's not going to cost you more than $5 million. Now, we can press about going to sign Levi from the Detroit Lions, but Levi's going to cost you anywhere between $15 and $20 million a year. We just don't have the money to do that. Not to mention, is he really worth that type of money? That's a position of need. It'd be nice to get a decent player that's young, but is it really worth paying $15 to $20 million a year for the player that's not worth it? Bonnie says, I remember watching a game with you, Big C, and it was just me and you in the chat. Costa may have joined at some point. It was a good time. Yeah, I know that you were there one day, Bonnie. I know that Costa Nostra joined me a couple times. Listen, I'll definitely live stream the games. I definitely will. As long as I can get a handful of you in here that are willing to watch the game with me. You know what I mean? If it's just going to be one person for a quarter, or, you know what I mean? I'd rather just chill on the couch and watch it. You know what I mean? And cuss out myself and cuss at myself. But if there's going to be multiple people here, we can make a fun day of it. You know what I mean? We can, like I said, every touchdown, every first down. I watched what's that? The Chat Sports. The guy he tries to have you send in money and he'll do a beer bong. Man, I watched him do beer bongs and people are sending him money. Listen, this dude would pour a sip of beer and acted like he was doing a beer bong. A beer bong is a whole beer, bro. I'm supposed to send you money and watch you take 2 gulps of a beer. Like, come on. And when I'll take a shot. You know that bottle filled with water. What up, Michael? What up? Would you rather take a flyer on Will Howard in the 3rd round instead of Zach Wilson, knowing Greer was going cornerback in round 1? I wouldn't take a quarterback that high this year. I would not take a quarterback that high. Yo, can I say this? I made it clear that I wanted Mac Jones as our backup quarterback. I thought Mac Jones was the closest thing to Tua. And Mike McDaniel has shown that he's not very good at adjusting the offense to match the quarterback that he has. Like, the offense is built for Tua. So when I'm looking for a backup quarterback for Tua, I'm looking at who is most like Tua. And I think that's Daniel Jones. Or not Daniel Jones, my fault. Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is the closest thing to Tua. Now, this is how bad the Zach Wilson contract is. Zach Wilson, 1-year deal, $6 million fully guaranteed. Mac Jones signed a 2-year, $7 million deal with the 49ers. And Mac Jones has shown more in his career than what Zach Wilson has. So how's that make sense? Tell me how that makes sense. Tell me how that makes sense. I mean, Scotty, whether the offense is built for Tua or not built for Tua, if Tua's skill set is at best at running it, I mean, someone with similar skill set should be successful running it also. You know what I mean? I just don't know how that makes sense that Mac Jones got a 2-year, $7 million deal, and we give Zach Wilson, who's done absolutely nothing as a pro, $6 million fully guaranteed on a 1-year deal. I don't understand that. I really don't. I'm surprised we haven't more players yet. I mean, I think they're just waiting. I think they're waiting. They probably got some offers out there. They probably got some feelers out there. And, they're not offers that, when these players get them, they're like, deal, I'll take it. Let's sign it. Let's sign it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? They're not contract offers that they're automatically, all right, I'll take it. It's, listen, this is what we're willing to offer. Go out, talk to who you need to talk to. If you can't find a better deal, we're here waiting. You know what I mean? Darian says he can't throw downfield and he can't run and he is not that accurate. I mean, Tua's accurate and Tua can't throw down the field, brother. Like, I don't know what games. I don't, sometimes I don't understand what some games we're not watching different games. Again, Tua, did anybody look that stat up, by the way? Did anybody look up that stat? How many passes over 50 yards in the air were completed last year? I want to know that stat for the whole NFL. Cap for life. Yeah, Mac Jones got $7 million over 2 years, though. Zach Wilson got 1 year, $6 million. Zach Wilson got 6 for 1 year. Mac Jones got 7 for 2. I mean, yeah, I mean, I can't say that Wilson has necessarily had the team that Tua has. No, it said he got 7. He got $7 million for 2 years, 7.5, I think. Mac Jones contract. I'm almost positive it was $7 million a year. Or no, 7 for 2. Yeah, 2 years, $7 million contract with the 49ers. Yeah. So how Zach Wilson get 6 for 1? Make it make sense. No, Daniel Jones got paid. Daniel got like 14, 17 million, something like that, right? Daniel Jones got paid. And I think Daniel Jones is going to do all right in Indy. I really do. I mean, I don't think he's going to blow it up or, light up the world, but I think Daniel Jones will do all right. So again, you bring in Calais 1 year, 5 million. That helps shore up the defensive line. Are we going to have to bring in another rotational piece? Yes, because Calais' snaps are going to be limited. His snaps are going to be limited, but he can still help this team. Corner. There's not a lot of great corners left. And a lot of them are going to be high priced. Gilmore, 1 year deal. He can come in, he can play solid. He's not going to give up a bunch of big plays. He's still a very good defender at his age. You can get him in here for 5-6 million a year. 5-6 million a year, and he's going to help this team win. Why do you not think teams fear us throwing the ball deep to the outside? Darian, teams do fear us. Teams do fear us throwing the ball deep. That's why they play 2 deep safeties. But that's why we can't throw the ball deep, because they're playing 2 deep safety. They don't get it twisted. They fear our deep ball. Teams fear our deep ball, but last year, our inability to run the ball, them safeties didn't have to creep up. They could just sit back there, and it eliminated our deep ball altogether. Our inability to run the ball last year screwed the whole passing game up. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have gave Mariota. I would have gave Mariota 8 before I would have gave Zach Wilson 6. You don't agree with that, Bonnie? I would have gave Mariota 8 before I gave Zach Wilson 6. Will Johnson in the draft, please. They do fear. Look at what we did in 2023 when we had a offensive line and could run the ball. Look at what the Eagles were able to do to the Kansas City Chiefs, because they only got to rush 4 players, because they could stop the run with 4 players. That changes everything up. I'm telling you. The reason that our passing game went to shit Zach is not a better quarterback than Tua. He might have more arm talent, but he's not a better quarterback. That's disrespectful. He got to prove something. Listen, our passing game went to shit last year, complete shit, because defenses could rush 4, get pressure on us. They could rush 4 and stop the run, and they could drop 7 into coverage. They would jam us off the line. They would jam our smaller receivers off the line, and they didn't have to worry about getting beat because they had 2 deep safeties. Given what Tua had, I mean, he about to have what Tua had. I mean, if he better than Tua, like you say he is, he should win the job in training camp, right? Damian, I think our passing game went to shit more so because we could not run the ball worth a damn. They did not fear our run at all. They did not fear the rushing game at all. We could not run the ball worth a damn last year. I mean, listen, for the sake of the Miami Dolphins, because, I'm just going to call it what I see. For the sake of the Miami Dolphins, I hope Darian's right. I hope Zach Wilson is better than Tua. I hope Zach Wilson's better than Tua. I hope Zach Wilson comes into camp and is an amazing quarterback. I hope he is. I hope he just slinging the rock all over. He just hitting Tyreek deep. He hitting Waddle deep. He just making all the right reads. I hope that happens. I hope that happens. Because that's best. That's what's best for the Miami Dolphins. I'm never going to choose a singular player over this team. Big C, one day you should do a show recapping the free agency, but only on the teams we play next year. I can get that done. I can get that done, Timothy. I mean, it probably have to be like a 3-part section. Everything that Big C said about how defenses adjust to our deep ball offense was accurate. I couldn't have said it better myself. In no world is Zach Wilson better than Tua. No way. Listen, again, I hope, Darian, for the love of God, I hope you're right. But at this current moment, you're projecting. You have no evidence to support your claims at this moment. Waddle didn't say that Jones was better. He said he preferred Jones. They did say that. They said they prefer Mac Jones. They did say that. That Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith both said they prefer Mac Jones coming out of the draft. And I remember being pissed off because Waddle was going to play with Tua. For him to say that, it was kind of mind blowing to me. But they did say that. They did say it. Stop doing the damn reverse run and run into the tackles instead. Yeah, I mean the scheme's got to be better, but I think we did a lot of that Oroki doke running, the running plays, because we couldn't run straight at people, so he had to try to make these specialty running plays up to try to gain some kind of advantage. We have seen Tua already. Yeah, I mean, we have seen Tua. And Tua he's been pretty good when he's healthy. Irving, that was back in 2021. I mean, it was. I mean, you can prefer how someone throws the ball to you, and it could be as simple as them comments about Mac Jones over Tua. It could be as simple as Tua's a left-handed quarterback, Mac Jones is a right-handed quarterback. Most quarterbacks are right-handed. The way the ball comes out your hand as a right-handed quarterback is completely different than what it comes out your hand as a left quarterback. And those receivers are probably used to catching the ball from a right-handed quarterback, so it feels more natural. So they probably did prefer Mac Jones. I mean, with a left-handed quarterback, everything's in reverse. Everything, the ball rotation, everything is reverse. And that could be true too, Scotty. I mean, that was their teammate. They were trying to help him with his draft stock. But again, they were so used to catching the ball from a right-handed quarterback that it was probably awkward catching the ball from a left-handed quarterback. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did prefer Mac Jones. Tua's not a great college quarterback either, and he had all the weapons at Alabama. Wilson hasn't had anything. Listen, again, until we he's going to get the opportunity. I just, you can blame the Jets for Zach Wilson, but Zach Wilson went over and signed with the Broncos. And I think we can all agree that he's an offensive head coach. He's an offensive guru. Sean Payton is an offensive guru. Sean Payton knows quarterbacks. Do you think he's just letting Zach Wilson walk out the door if he's seen anything special out of Zach Wilson? I don't think he lets him walk out the door that easily if he sees this greatness. Zach attack. Miami, hide your moms. Scotty says, what does the constant Tua hate get you, Darian? And adds nothing to the conversations. It's old and tired. Obviously, he is our starting quarterback. Hey, listen, like I said, hopefully he's right about Tua. Or not Tua, but hopefully he's right about Zach. Anything to make this team better. If Zach Wilson comes in here and he's the next Joe Montana, Dan Marino, that's good for the Miami Dolphins. I'm not going to wish bad upon Zach Wilson. I'm not going to wish that Zach Wilson doesn't play as good as Tua. I just hope that Tua doesn't lose the job to Zach Wilson because Tua's play dropped instead of Zach Wilson's play elevated. You know what I mean? I think our coaches want Wilson because he is young and talented. Wilson went to BYU, right? So I like I said, cheap options. Stephon Gilmore, $5 million a year. And I know these guys are old. I know they are. $5 million a year. He come in, help us in that cornerback room until we can get some youth. Calais Campbell, he can help shore up that defensive line. That defensive line should be even better. Calais, we didn't have much of a pass rush last year. I believe the pass rush is going to be way better this year with Chubb back, with Jalen Phillips back, with Chop Robinson hitting his strides. I think the defensive line we're going to get a lot more pressure on the quarterback. So with Calais down there, Zach Sealer down there, I think this defense has the potential to be better. And then on the offensive side of the ball, this is a little bit more money, but it lets you get some more youth. Mekhi Becton, they're projecting him out at only around $10 million a year. The guy's 25 years old, has a ton of potential. I think you go get Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton to the Miami Dolphins makes so much sense. 4 years, $10 million a year, 4 year, $40 million. That's $10 million a year. By time, listen, people are getting Will Fry's $17 million, Aaron Banks, what do you get? 19 million. That would be an absolute steal for a 25-year-old guard that has all the potential in the world. I think you need to make that happen. That helps shore up the offensive line. That makes it so we don't necessarily have to go offensive line in the first round of the draft. So then you can go get that defensive tackle, or you can go get a Nick Emilwari to shore up the safety room. These three additions give you flexibility when it comes to the draft. It gives you so much flexibility when it comes to the draft. You bring Isaiah. I know it's not a popular decision, but if you go back and you look, Isaiah Wynn has played decent when he's been healthy for the Miami Dolphins. And you can't beat it when you're giving him $2.5, $3 million for 1 year. He's played really good. Matter of fact, when Isaiah Wynn was in the game, when he did hit the field last year, our running game improved when he was on the field. If you look at the numbers between Eichenberg snaps and Isaiah Wynn snaps, we were considerably better at running the ball when Isaiah Wynn was on the field. You'd bring back defensive tackle Davis back. I mean, he made more money over in Indy than what I thought he was gonna in free agency. I mean, depending on the price, I'd consider it. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't think he's necessarily a starter, but if you're telling me to bring back Davis, the matchup with Calais, I'd consider it. If Zach was drafted today, he'd be second to Cam Ward. I mean, I want to listen. Zach Wilson, he's got great potential, and I feel like that the Miami Dolphins brought Zach Wilson on strictly for that. I mean, there's probably not a lot of backup quarterbacks in the league that have as much potential as Zach Wilson. That'd be nice, right, Scotty? That'd be nice, right? Walker wasn't necessarily bad for us. He struggled to stay healthy also, though. Zach Wilson's got a ton of potential. He's very athletic. He's got a super strong arm. He can throw that ball all over the field. He definitely can do that. Again, like I said yesterday, it's what's between the ears for me that gets me nervous. I think Zach Wilson was always babied, if you will. He was always the biggest, and this is in the words of Scotty, always the biggest fish in a small pond. Everybody always was telling Zach Wilson how great he was, how good looking he was. He's the typical what you would see in the movies, prom king, quarterback that dates the hot cheerleader, bangs his friends' moms. You know what I mean? He's just that person. The golden smile, the golden arm quarterback. Every teen movie you've seen has a Zach Wilson in it, played by Freddie Prinze Jr. You know what I mean? And I just think Zach Wilson was always relied on his elite arm talent and never truly had to learn the game. Never had to learn the game beyond just having elite arm talent. You better watch your Darian. Now you being real disrespectful. He's our new Dan. You over there watching too much Finn's tailgate, brother. Darian, those are fighting words. That's that in the words of Stephen A. Smith, that's blasphemy. I can't even believe you mentioned him in the same. You go wash your mouth out with soap right now. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you mention Zach Wilson in the same? How dare you even have this a thought of Zach Wilson and Dan Marino in the same moment? I feel highly insulted. Good looking, talented, and the women love him. Yeah, I mean, I guess he probably has. I guess he has that in common with Dan. My mother always said Dan Marino was a very handsome man. Welcome to Miami, Zach. So again, like I know that people want to get young, but again, I would love to get young, but getting this team younger has more so to do with the draft than it does free agency. You work with what you got in free agency. You try not to overplay these players, and I think the Miami Dolphins. That's one thing they're doing a good job of. That's one thing that I got to give them credit for. Was I initially upset that we weren't going out and getting some of these players? Yeah. But I know that I'd be highly upset if we ended up paying 17, 18, 19 million a year for guys that weren't worth it. Just like I mentioned to you, Big C, those dudes over at TFTG were high-fiving each other about Zach Wilson being the incarnation of Marino. Listen, again, people can choose to watch what they want, and people that want to believe whatever they want to believe, there's different content out there for you to find your niche. I mean, there's going to be some people that believe that. You know what I mean? Not really, Big C. We added solid depth, 3s and 4s in their rooms with youth over 30 plus, big names. I don't quite get what you're saying there. The Finn's tailgate. That's like Shake Money, El Capitan. They got a bunch of different stuff over there, Bonnie. I feel like by adding those three guys I had listed, Mekhi Becton, Calais Campbell, and Stephon Gilmore. It gives us great flexibility in the draft. I'm saying we need to add youth in both draft and free agency. The free agent big names, 30 plus years old, need to be avoided. We were the oldest team last year, and it showed. Scotty, the thing with young free agents, if they're affordable in our price range, they're not probably pretty good. They're probably not that good, or they're severely injury laden. You know what I mean? You don't allow young, talented players to hit free agency unless there's a big issue with them. You gotta fill these holes with competent players, Scotty, whether they're old or not. I'd rather take Calais Campbell at $3 million a year and him being 37, 38 years old than injury-ridden guy that isn't very good because he's 23. We can't just trade players because they're old for shit players because they're young, neither. We're not getting a 2 and a 3 for Tyreek. And the salary, we still got to pay so much of his contract. Listen, Scotty, I want to get younger too. But again, like I said, if young players are hitting free agency with the amount of cap space that we have, right now, we can't. They're not very good players if they're young. Or like I said, they're injury prone. Good morning, Miss Finns. I appreciate it. Yeah, hit that like button, subscribe. Make sure you check out the Miss Finns show every day, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday. Help support her. Help her get to 2K. She's chasing that 2K. But yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a reason if they're in free agency and we can afford them at that price range, there's a reason. Either one, they're not very good, or two, they're coming off serious injury or they just deal with injuries constantly and they can't stay on the field. There'd be no other reason that a young good player would be cheap. And right now, we can't afford expensive players. If you're young and you're semi-talented and you hit free agency, you're getting deals like Will Fries. And Will Fries, he wasn't even healthy last year. And he getting $17 million. Young talent does hit free agency all the time, but they get paid. Like Will Fries hitting free agency. He's talented, so he getting paid. We don't have the money to go get Will Fries. I'm saying if you're looking for players at $5 million and under, these are your best bets, and that's what we got to work with, really. Unless we really do a bunch of salary cap moves, but again, that handicaps us in the future. That handicaps us in the future. That's why a Calais Campbell is only $5 million. That's why a Stephon Gilmore's only $5 million. It's because they're old. They're still good, but they're old. They're not for long. If a young player is cheap like that, it's because they got issues. or they're not very good. And I think this team, if we draft well, it'll be a couple years and we'll be able to, you know what I mean? Once Tyreek's off the books, once some of these players come off the books, we'll be able to add young pieces through free agency that are talented. No, I mean young talent does have free agency, but they get paid. I mean, some young talent, either you're getting paid by your team or you're out of our price range if you're talented and young. I mean, obviously, some young talent hits free agency. Obviously, you know what I mean. Obviously, teams have salary cap issues, and they can't, like with us with Christian Wilkinson. We had cap issues, and we weren't willing to give Christian Wilkins the amount of money he wanted. We weren't willing to give Robert Hunt the money we wanted, but those players were getting huge deals from somebody else. That's why they didn't want our money. Miami Dolphins aren't in positions to sign players like that. I'm just strictly talking about players that we can afford right now. It's either good old players or injury prone or not very talented young players. That's our options. And sometimes, like, you get a Mekhi Becton, which is a little bit of both. You know what I mean? He's not super cheap, but he's not top tier talent. And if you can find the perfect combination of those players, I mean, you're gonna win. You're gonna win free agency. James Daniels, he's coming off injury. That's why he was super cheap. But he's not old, but he's not super young neither. But he's a talented player. If you trade Tyreek for a second and a 4 and change the culture from selfishness, we're not getting a 2 and a 4 for Tyreek. No way. Bonnie says there are some talents that are cheaper because they haven't been given a chance for whatever reason. Sealer wasn't much before coming to the Dolphins. Sealer is just one of those, of course you get the player. Some players are, some 6-round talents are turning to Tom Brady. Some 6-round draft picks are turning to Tom Brady. Those players are like a needle in a haystack. You know what I mean? Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you get a guy, you pick up a guy and you're right. He's been sitting behind a big name player on a talented team. Like Zach Sealer played for the Baltimore Ravens. He probably sat behind some talented players on a talented defense, didn't get much playing time, didn't get much of a look. Miami Dolphins got lucky. But those players are far and few in between. Darren Miner, get informed as much as some of the Dolphins want Tyreek. The malcontent Hill on our team. His contract prohibits from the outers being traded. The quitter being traded. Yeah. I mean, Darian, I like to talk about stuff that is more realistic. Like we could sit here and talk about trading Tua, releasing Tua, trading Tyreek, release. I mean, if Tyreek's gonna more than likely be on the team, that's what I like to address. That's what I like to talk about. If we start Tua, A-Chain, Wright, Waddle, Malik, Paul, AJ, that's 7 over 11 we drafted. That's pretty decent when I actually lay it out. Yeah, that's not bad. And then you add in whatever picks we get. What do you think we can get for Tyreek? I would say maybe a 4th. I'd say maybe a 4th. He's over 40. He had or not over 40, over 30. He had a down year. You know that you got to deal with his shenanigans, and you know that he may or may not want to play in Miami anymore. So you're going to lowball the shit out the Miami Dolphins. I don't think you can get over a fourth for Tyreek. Not to mention, we got to pay a huge portion of his salary, regardless if he's on the team or not. I think at the very least, we got to pay at least $15 million of his contract, no matter what. That's the lowest amount that we would have to pay Tyreek this year. I could be wrong. Scotty probably knows better than I do. I want to say if we trade him after June 1st, we would only have to pay him $15 million this year. $15 million is a big deal. And he's talented. I think he had a bad moment. Tyreek is what opposing teams fear. He's that piece that other teams game plan around. He's the piece on the Miami Dolphins offense that defensive coordinators lose sleep over. I don't agree with everything Tyreek does, not by a long shot. I don't agree with what he did against the Jets, not by a long shot. But is Tyreek the best player on this whole football team? You bet your damn ass he is. Are we better without Tyreek Hill on this team? No. Are we better without Tyreek Hill and still pay Tyreek Hill $15 million? We need to change the culture, and he's only playing for himself. I wouldn't say that. That's pretty. Listen, Darian, I wouldn't say that Tyreek only plays for himself. You can debate him quitting on the team that last week. Say what you will. You can have your opinions on that. But to say that Tyreek only plays for himself, I don't think that's right. Tyreek Hill had a broken wrist. If you go by what his agent, what Drew Rosenhaus said, Tyreek had a broken wrist, a messed up wrist at the beginning of the season that they told him that he needed surgery on. Tyreek could have missed the whole freaking season and still got paid. He could have still got paid. He decided to play. A player like Javon Holland's only playing for himself. Tyreek wants to win. Tyreek got frustrated. Tyreek didn't handle it correctly. Yeah, Tyreek. I mean, there's no way that Tyreek's on this team next year on his current deal. I think he's getting $51 million next year. There's no way that we pay him that. KJ Britt, Miami Dolphins primary logo, Miami linebacker, 52 Dolphins sign KJ Britt. Tua got benched for a bruised hip. He ain't a team player. Cap hit was a Walker Britt swap, laugh out loud. I said earlier, I hope it turns out like Baker Brooks swap. That would be nice. By the way, we re-signed Walker and got Britt. So do you think next year is going to be better? I think this year is going to be better. First and foremost, what it depends mostly on, the biggest wild card factor, which it is every year, which is why it's near impossible to have Tua as our franchise quarterback, is whether Tua stays healthy. And which one of us can predict that? None of us. None of us. If Tua can't stay healthy, there's not a shot. There's not a shot we're better. You've seen how bad this offense was last year. You've seen how bad this offense was with when Tua was out. We struggled to move the ball 10 yards. We struggled to move the ball 10 yards. We had incompetent quarterback play. Now, if Tua comes out and plays a full season, if Chris Greer does a decent job in this draft, if we can add another piece to this offensive line, if Chris Greer goes down and gets the players that he should get, I think we'll be greatly improved. I think the improved offensive line with James Daniels and what other offensive linemen the Miami Dolphins decide to bring in, whether it's Membu, whether it's a Mekhi Becton, whether whoever it is, I think this offensive line is immediately better. I think we run the ball better. I think that opens up the passing game. I think Tyreek will be healthy. Jalen Waddle should be healthy. You got Jonnu, Nick Westbrook. I think the offense can get back to being a top 10 offense. When Tua played last year, in games that Tua played, we averaged just under 25 points a game. That's enough offense to win you a bunch of football games. And then the defense should be better. If we can somehow get Calais to come back, we go get a Nick Emawari, a Starks, a Watts in the safety room. We find a corner that is equal to Fuller, if not maybe a little bit better than Fuller. I think this defense should be considerably better because we should have much more of a pass rush. We were a top 10 defense in a lot of aspects last year. Besides turnovers and sacks, I think we should move up the ladder in sacks. So, yeah, I think this team should be better. I think this team has the capabilities. If Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel can get things right, to be able to compete, to have a shot at a division title. Why keep what players around? Because Mike McDaniel doesn't adjust. Absolutely, Scotty. If Daniels is healthy, the improvement over Eichenberg is literally immeasurable. Listen, the Miami Dolphins have a lot of potential to get way better. We still got a long way to go. Free agency is, listen, there's going to be a whole nother wave of players released. Hopefully we can pick them bones. Hopefully we can grab two, maybe three starters in this year's draft to fill holes. And listen, if Tua can stay healthy, this Miami Dolphins team has the potential to challenge the Buffalo Bills. This team can challenge how good we were in 2023. And in 2023, when we were healthy, we were an elite team in this league. Until the injuries really started hammering us down, we were an elite team. but we got swamped with the injuries, and we couldn't overcome them. We lost a 4 or 5 game lead to Buffalo. We were leading that division. We should have had a home playoff game. We ended up going to Kansas City in -7 degree weather and losing to the eventual Super Bowl champions. Why can't we compete with Buffalo? Why can't we? Why can't we compete with Buffalo? We had a 4 or 5 game lead on them in 2023. That's the last time we had a. I mean, Tua didn't choke. Tua had one of his best games of his career against Buffalo last year. If it wasn't for that double agent Jordan Poyer, we should have beat Buffalo. Not to mention their kicker, who they were on the verge of release and kicked a 60-yard field goal to beat us. The team choked. Listen, in 2023, when we had a competent offensive line and Tua stayed healthy, we had a 4-game lead on Buffalo. We can at least compete for that division. How many games did we win last year? What we finish 8-9? What did Buffalo finish at? 13-4, 14. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as Tua choked. It's hard to. Tua doesn't have. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He can't overcome certain things that those players can. And we just got the team choke versus Tennessee. It's not versus Buffalo. Is there games that Tua's not played his best against some top tier talent? Yeah, absolutely. But there's games that Josh Allen hasn't played his best against top tier talent. I think the Miami Dolphins, depending how they finish free agency and depending on what they do in the draft, will absolutely be able to compete against Buffalo if they do what I think they can do. I find it very interesting. Bill's coach said that Josh Allen does about 100 mock drafts a day and sends them to him. I find that funny. Look, coach, this is who I got at pick 30. You should go with this game plan. It's always when the team plays poor, it's Tua's fault. He can't carry them when Buffalo loses. It's always Allen can't do it on his own. Haters gonna hate. Yeah, I mean, listen, sometimes it is Tua's fault, but again, Josh Allen, and Scotty's right. If Josh Allen were to lose a game, it's because Josh Allen can't do it on his own or this or that. Josh Allen doesn't have the weapons, blah, blah, blah. But if Tua loses a game, why can't Tua have a bad game? All these losses aren't on Tua. And again, Tua doesn't have that. We're not going to pretend that Tua is Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. He's not as talented a quarterback as they are. He's just not. True Blazer, how come we can't have How come 2025 Dolphins can't be as talented as the 2023 Dolphins? What piece on that 2023 team was so much better than what we have right now? I think the 2025 team could rival the 2023 team. Your key pieces are still there. Your Tyreeks, your Waddles, your Tuas, your Jalen Ramsey, your Jalen Phillips, your Bradley Chubb. You know what I mean? We've improved the linebacker position with Jordan Brooks and Dotson. Zach Sealer's playing at a higher level. I think this year's team, depending on who we add and the rest of free agency and the rest of the draft, can very much so be as good as the 23 team. This team's incomplete. The team's incomplete, True Blazer. We don't know what it's going to look like. The D line could be just as good. This team's incomplete, True Blazer. It's yet we don't know what's going to happen. Greer let the O line key players walk. I mean, he let Robert Hunt walk. I don't think you can. I can't justify giving Robert Hunt $23 million a year. He's a very good player. I just couldn't see him doing it. I mean, True Blazer, you can tell me what this team's going to look like 4 months from now? I mean, Brewer, is he as good as Connor Williams? Probably not, but he was still pretty good. You're relying on Phillips and Chubb were coming off major injuries. You're right, True Blazer, but in 2023 they were going into major injuries. Right? They missed. I'd rather have Chubb and Phillips coming off major injuries for that second half of the season where they should be coming into their own rather than to lose them halfway through the season like we did in 23. We didn't even have them at the end of 23. They are older. Not much, though. I mean, they're True Blazer. I mean, I'm not saying we're definitely going to be better than the 23 team. I'm just saying give it an opportunity to play itself out. And we'll revisit it. We'll remember this conversation. We'll talk about it. Maybe you'll end up being right, and I'll admit if you're right. And maybe we'll look at it and I'll be right. Who knows? I can't. I'm not saying the 25 team's definitely going to be better. You know what I mean? I can't say that because I don't know what it's going to look like. We might not sign anybody else, and we might bomb the draft. We might go running back first round and quarterback second round and punter third round. And then I'm shit out of luck, right? Raphael, good morning. Good morning. Can I get everybody to hit the like button? I want to see at least 14 likes up in there, please. Can I get that? Can we get 14 likes up in there at least, please? Can I have you all hit that like button for me, please, so we can at least have 14? Uh, 15. Can we get the 15? Okay, let's get it, please. Is KJ Britt, how good is KJ Britt? Is he just a rotational piece? I call this pre-bitching about the roster. Hey, man, I get it. Do you guys like this guy on Chat Sports, Chad Roloff or whatever his name is? I like the guy that used to be on there, Willie Finns. They said he'll be the third back behind Dotson and Brooks. Yeah, Craig, we need some more, man. But 18 better than 14, right? Well, that's the thing is that we didn't want to everybody was concerned about us redoing Tua's contract, and we haven't touched that. So that should make people happy, right? That should make people happy, right? If you think the rookie second, where do you think what round do you see us taking a linebacker, Scotty? What round do you see us taking a linebacker? I mean, I guess to me it depends on how the draft falls. I could see us taking one with our third round pick, but probably if I had to guess, I'd say the fourth. Round one, huh? Wow. I man. Everybody gonna like what players they like, you know what I mean? I gotta think like Greer. If you're thinking like Greer, we're going corner. If you're thinking like Greer, we're going corner. We're probably going corner if you're thinking like Greer. Damian says I want Starks at the first round. Listen, his numbers concern me. Starks numbers concern me. But Starks is more versatile than Emma Worry. Emma Worry is a straight safety. Starks can play corner. He can play safety. You know, Starks is more versatile. Starks can go down there and play the slot corner. Starks can play both safeties, whereas Emma Worry is a straight safety. Yeah, I'm excited for the draft. There's a million different things that could play out. So many good players in this year's draft that I feel like it could really come in and help us. I just can't wait to see what we're going to be working with. It's nerve wracking. I sit here and I probably do 7, 8 mock drafts a day just messing around. The troll blocked me, haters. He blocked you. I hope he didn't block me. I mean, I don't think nobody was rude or anything, right? I mean, we're having discussions. You can't agree with everybody. You know what I mean? You can't agree with everybody. Everybody's not going to agree. Oh, he unsubscribed me. I don't like for what though? For what though? Like I don't what was said bad? I just don't like I don't get people sometimes. Like last thing he said is trade Tyreek, and I said it don't make sense financially. I'll tell you what, it really does hurt my feelings when people unsubscribe me. I've lost 2 subscribers in the last 2 days. That hurts me. Ah, it hurts me. All right, folks. We'll get back at it tomorrow. Pleasure talking to you like always. Thank you guys for hanging out. Big C, there are Finns channels that only hate. That's where they live. TFTG is a main example. Pete's Mistakes is another. It's 100% hate. Yeah, I mean, it's only football, but like if you're a Dolphins fan, that's what kills me about some of these people. A lot of the content creators out there, they care more about being right than they care about the team. They want to tell you, ha ha, I told you so, more than what they care about the team. Me, that I'm the complete opposite. And I think that's why people should resonate with me. If you're a true Dolphins fan, I think that's why you should check this channel out and you should make this your channel of choice. Now, you know, some people break down more game film and this and that. Listen, that's a real wishy-washy road with YouTube. YouTube it demonetizes everything and it copyrights everything. So you're not even allowed to show videos on YouTube like that. I actually got to change my entrance video because every one of my videos is getting copyrighted. So, you know, like today, he was saying the stuff about Zach Wilson. What does Big C say? I say, brother, I hope you're right. Because if you're right, if Zach Wilson is better than Tua, if Zach Wilson is the next coming of Dan Marino, that means the Miami Dolphins are a better team. I hope you're right, brother. But I can't sit here and let you say that Zach Wilson in this moment is better than Tua. He hasn't proven that. And I'm not going to let you bash Tua neither. Tua is QB1 of this Miami Dolphins football team. And that's my team. And I ain't gonna let you bash my quarterback. Now, if you come with some real stats or some real facts, we can have a discussion. But again, I appreciate you all. Thank you all for coming through. Hit that like button, subscribe, share it with your friends, family, any Dolphins fan you know. And I appreciate you all. If anybody knows Reason, man, tell Reason get a hold of me. I try to get a hold of this guy, trying to talk football with him. I appreciate that, Craig. Listen, I am a real fan. I'd rather the Miami Dolphins succeed and win football games and win Super Bowls and me be wrong than for me to be right about something in Miami to lose. That's me. I'll be wrong everything. I'll be wrong about everything. Let me say Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel are the worst coaches in the world. They're going to get fired this year. I hope they're the best coaches and win us Super Bowls. Listen, I'll be wrong about everything as long as we can win. And I'll gladly come in with a smile on my face and say, yeah, we lost, but we got another W. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for all the love. I appreciate y'all. And you know what it is. Fins up. Peace.